Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of Midweek Matters. Now, before we get stuck into the news of football, Lomax granted an early release officially by the Dragons. I'd just like to welcome back from his not so well earned break, Charlie White.
Good to be back, Jimmy. Good to be back.
Absolutely.
Good to be back. You know, they keep the best players fresh. And that's why I had to get a little spell after the first few weeks. You know, because you need me at the best. For this place to thrive, you need me at my best.
Is that like so you're considering yourself like a bit of a top 4 team?
Bit like
you've earned that right. You've won, and then you've got the week off.
Absolutely. A bit like James Desco went to Byron Bay last year. Trent Robinson saw he needed to freshen up. It's a bit like me. Went down the South Coast, had a glorious few days. Maybe the best couple of days of my life, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just great.
Why is that?
Just had an amazing time. Was at a farm by the beach. It was great. Good fun. And yeah, I appreciated you on hopping on Triple M and every other show you could, trying to say I was going to propose to my missus. And my missus obviously caught wind of that. And I had to say to her, it's just not happening. So don't think this is what's going to happen. It's not.
Well, if you can provide me with a shred of evidence where I said that.
Well, if you give someone a gun and they shoot it, are you responsible?
No.
Not even if you set them up to do it. So if you organise the hit and give them the weapon, are you guilty?
Look, I think what you're trying to do is imply. You say you're saying like through implication, but all I pondered where you were and your absence. It's gonna invoke a question. It's surely like our listeners want to know. Cheese was like, why am I in? It's Midweek Matters.
Cheese would have loved it. Cheese would have loved it. A little extra work for him.
Yeah, no, but he's naturally inquisitive person. You know, and I think it's worth bringing up that you're not here. It's strange because it's middle of the season.
Yeah.
And you know, I just posed the question. I wonder where he could be.
Imagine if I was proposing, though. Imagine if I was proposing.
Imagine.
I could have been. You could have ruined the surprise.
Well.
Or do you think I would have told you going into it?
I reckon you would probably. I'd like to think you said.
Oh, you'd have probably said something.
Yeah. Please don't make a joke of this.
But do you know what it is? It's just like well planned annual leave. Because I was away for 5 days. 5 days. I only used 2 days of annual leave.
You also missed the most important guest we've ever had, arguably.
And he was brilliant.
He was
brilliant.
And you could have had the best seat in the house, but instead you chose to go and have a couple of days on a farm. Don't know what you got up to on that farm.
Activities. Yeah. It was good. It was great fun.
I bet it was.
It was good fun. There is rugby league to talk about, though.
There is. But Charlie, honestly, welcome back, mate. I hope you're feeling fresh and
I'm
up.
feeling fresh, mate. I feel great.
Yeah.
I'm sure you missed me. I'm surprised the Maddie interview was that good, even though I wasn't there. Because normally it's my sort of relaxed nature when the guests walk in. It gets them, relaxed. And you were able to put an interview together for the first time by yourself. So that's
don't
great.
You dare.
That's great.
Don't you dare.
Well done. But no, Maddie was fantastic. Cheese was brilliant. It was a great week of the buy round. And maybe it shows, mate, we're all replaceable in life.
Yes, we are.
If any of us die tomorrow, the world will keep cracking on. Even bloody Taylor Swift, as popular as she is, if she dies, we'll all be fine.
There's 2 great things about life. It ends and it goes on.
Exactly. And we're all not as important as we think we are.
No.
So the buy round can thrive without me. It should give you more confidence about, the setup,
Talking about that, maybe I will give someone a gun and get them to shoot you.
Yeah.
And then you're out the picture, and then me and Tony can just power grab.
Better quickly put a will together then.
We could argue that in the court of law. Charlie said if he dies, no matter the circumstances, he said that me and Tony will split his share of the buy round.
Well, I've just ruined that for you by saying I'm going to create a will.
Yeah, we can edit this part out.
Fair.
But yes, onto the football. Zach Lomax has been requesting a release. The Dragons have said they would look at it after round 4. That has all come true. Shane Flanagan spoke to him on Triple M on Sunday, where he basically said he's in our top 3 players, so we'll only trade him for a top 3 player if the club win, basically. And I think he's well within his rights to do that. Since then, Zach has been granted a release. all roads lead to Parramatta for Zach Lomax.
He's meeting them today as we record this.
So I think it's a massive win for the Dragons.
You think it's a massive win for the Dragons getting rid of him?
Well, if they get what they're going to go looking for, which I think will be Taruva, who's, I think there's no coincidence that Taruva is, his management are going to go and speak to other clubs. Zach Lomax currently playing on the wing, so it's not a like for like. Well, so people would think, oh, Zach's a really good centre, but he's playing on the wing, so we need a centre in. No, Zach's playing on the wing, so I think they'd look to bring Taruva in. So if you bring Taruva in, who Penrith has said they'll go to 350, Taruva hits the market. There'll be a couple of clubs in for him. Dragons will be favourite. Let's say they get him for 455. So you bring Taruva...
Minimum of 5, I think they'll have to pay the Dragons to get him.
Yeah, okay, let's say 5. So you get Taruva in for 500. So you lose Lomax. I think Taruva's a better winger than Lomax is. So you win, and then you get an extra 300 to go and play with. And the Dragons, it's no secret they were in for Adam Fanua-Blake. They want that big front rower, base down the door front rower. Nelson Asofa Solomona seems like he is on the outer at Melbourne. So you use the money that you would have gone after Fanua-Blake, maybe a little bit less, because obviously Fanua-Blake would demand more than Nelson. So you get Nelson and Taruva instead of Fanua-Blake and Lomax, and you're probably saving yourself 600 grand in the process. So then they can look to invest that in other areas of the squad. If Shane Flanagan can pull that off, I think that's a huge win for the Dragons.
Sounds great on paper. Nelson Asofa Solomona's signed a contract with the Storm till 2027.
Yeah.
So even though he's on the outer, sure, the Storm might want to get rid of him. And of course, they've got to go and sign Taruva. A lot of clubs might want to get Taruva. Like Roosters are going to have some money. I know it sounds silly, but Roosters are going to be losing Suoli'i, Joey Manu. Yeah. They need an outside back. I know they've got Tupu and Young, but Tupu might be in his last year this year.
Yeah. So that's the threat. And then I guess, so yeah, let's deal with Taruva first. You're right, the Roosters probably would come to the party. That's the issue that the Dragons would face, but then can they squeeze some more out? But then the Roosters have just re-signed
Terrell May, and they've also got the Wallabies player coming as well.
Yeah.
Mark, I don't know how to say that. Mark Nawakatazi or something like that. Apologies for that pronunciation; it's terrible. So they still need probably another outside back, and there's other clubs as well. There's other clubs needing outside backs.
Yeah,
I think the Dragons have got there. I think to say it's a win until we don't really know it's a win for them. I think until you see what they get in return, because even we had this conversation off air. Like if you've got, I think Lomax and Taruva, you'd rather have Lomax in your team. If you take the salary, what they're getting paid out of it, you'd rather have Lomax than Taruva.
Well, it depends.
Okay, well let's say they're both on $500,000 a year and they're both going to play wing. Who would you rather have?
Taruva.
Yeah, see, I disagree. I think Lomax is a better player than Taruva.
On the wing?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. Mate, being a winger for Penrith is like, that's the best spot ever. If you put Lomax on the wing at Penrith, he's going to probably score 20 tries. Like, it's an amazing spot to be in.
I get what you're saying. But Taruva brings something, man.
Yeah, absolutely. His carries are really strong. He can get over 200 metres for pretty much every game he plays. But Lomax is the same. Lomax is a great runner of the ball.
Taruva's quicker, a lot quicker, a much better finisher.
Lomax is more skillful.
And his positional play is by far and away exceeds the positional play on the wing of Zach Lomax.
Yeah, but that's also the benefit of being able to trust your teammates a lot better as well. And there's such a cohesive system in Penrith.
Yeah, no, that
like Penrith. If he was so good, why are Penrith not prepared to pay more than $350?
Because they've got a tight salary cap. They've got Isaiah Yeo, Nathan Cleary, Dylan Edwards, Isaac Tango, Moses Leota, James Fisher-Harris.
Yeah, of course, but it's because they know they can probably bring another winger up from their junior setup, and he can do a similar job or a good enough job on that wing. That's why.
Yeah, no, you make a valid point, but I just think, I think the Dragons, again, if they pull this off, and you've got to assume the fact that the football club have allowed Zach to go, that they've got like the assurances that they're going to land some people. They're not just going to. They're not letting him go to create 800 grand on a cap next year.
Well, maybe they would be though, because it's massive money. So if you're saying you'd rather have Taruva than Zach Lomax, well, Zach Lomax is the highest paid centre in the game, pretty much at 800 grand a year. So getting him off the books helps him out massively.
Well, it does if you go and sign someone.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. So I can only assume that the Dragons have got like assurances from some players that they're going to come, because they wouldn't have allowed them. Because unfortunately, players are a commodity, and you could just say, "All right, Zach, we'll let you know. We're just waiting on a few things." But the fact that they've come out publicly and said, "Yes, you can go." No, Shane Flanagan doesn't want 800 grand in the salary cap for next year. He wants players. So the fact that he's let Zach go means he's used that money already. He's spent it, and it's going to be announced in the coming weeks.
It's an interesting one for Zach Lomax, because I don't know, are Parramatta going to give him 800 grand a year?
Well, the Dragons have come out and said we're not contributing to his wage.
So I mean, because they've already got Will Penasini as a centre who is the kind of centre that will command a decent salary. With your salary cap, you can't really have two highly paid centres.
No. Yeah.
They probably need a centre. Like Simonson's playing this week and Harper was playing the week before that. But yeah, it's a strange one. Like they've got their money, their salary cap would be quite tight. The Parramatta Eels, you would think as well, with Borlo and Campbell Gillard, and Hopgood's going to need an upgrade whenever he comes up because he's been brilliant for them.
Moses, obviously.
Yeah, Brown and Gutho, they're all on big money. Yeah. They've probably got a cheap hooker in. They got Lussick and Hansa rotating a bit at the moment. But yeah, it's a lot of money for Parramatta if they are going to give him 800.
But do you remember that? Was it last year they came out and said we need some X factor? Maybe they'll. I don't know, but they obviously know what they like. They wouldn't be doing this unless they thought like he's our man, and he's going to add to the squad. But again, like the Dragons in this situation, they've allowed it. So for me, it speaks volumes that they're bringing. I reckon it is Taruva that they'll bring in, and then on the Nelson side of things, and you say about he's locked up till Storm 2027. They've made no secret of their desires to get Stefano Utoikamanu from the Tigers, who's got a clause in his deal around the Tigers not making the 8 now. I know the Tigers have won 2 from 3. Everything's going good there, but it's a long season and it remains to be seen whether the Tigers will compete for the top 8. But it wouldn't surprise me to see Utoikamanu in Storm colours next year. But for them to do that, they need to release Nelson Asofa Solomona. I don't think they've got enough money in their cap to hold both of those 2 players, and especially if Nelson's not playing. And
well, this reports that Brent Reid had was that the Melbourne Storm are really unhappy with Nelson due to the condition he arrived back in for pre-season.
Well, for Melbourne Storm, it was clear last year where they were lacking is middle forwards. Like they struggled in the middle. That Melbourne identity of contacting the ruck, slowing the ruck, being difficult to play against, that just wasn't there, especially at the back end, which was surprising. They've always been a team that have found a way to get the best out of some middle forwards that perhaps were on the lower end of the ability level, but high in effort. I think there's been a big change in Melbourne's pre-season. They look a different team, especially defensively this year. So for Nelson to come back overweight or underdone, I mean, he did his boxing fight in the second weekend of October, so he would have been keeping fit for that.
And they probably gave him permission to do that, and they probably were like to him, "Hey mate, you do this, you better come back for pre-season in good shape."
Yeah, and they're well within the rights to be disappointed if this is true. But all clubs have expectations. Sometimes they're not met. And, you know, you understand why a coach like Bellamy, doesn't matter if you're a test forward, if you're one of the biggest and baddest players in the NRL, if you're not making the team standards or what we expect of you, we have to make an example of you. Now, it's interesting, funny how like different players work and different teams operate, and sometimes it's, I don't care what you do as long as you perform on a weekend. Like, I'll turn a blind eye to that. Some teams operate where it's like, no, we're all doing, we're all equality. Like, we treat everybody exactly the same, whether you're a Munster, a Hughes, a Pappenhausen, a Nelson, or, you know, a squad player.
Yep.
And some teams, that works for some people. Like, and some teams have different rules for different players within the team, and I get that. But obviously at Melbourne, their system is, or their philosophy, their foundation is, we treat everybody the same. If you don't make the standards, then tough luck.
And the standards set by their great players were just so unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think someone came in here and told a story about Cam Smith where they only had a session had to end early because of weather or something, and then he was seen in Manly doing extra sessions in the morning because he didn't train enough the day before. Like,
yeah.
it's just,
so that's how they work. Obviously, there's nothing official there, but the fact that he's not played the past couple of weeks sort of suggests that. Because he's too good on his potential, and we all know what he's capable of.
not playing again this week as well.
Yeah. So, but it's going to be an interesting developing story, this with Lomax and the domino effect of it all. It really will be. But yeah, speaking with Shane Sunday, like, he's adamant, we're not losing in this, we're winning. We're not just going to let him go. We're not going to pay a cent for him. So yeah, I think, to be fair as well, I want to give credit for Zach Lomax the way he's handled himself. Like, throughout this process, it's difficult, and it's when a lot of people are talking about it, and he may try and ignore it, but everybody wants to talk to you about it. The fans, players, the media. But he's gone out there and performed.
Ben Hunt will be a bit gutted. He's seen Lomax get the all clear. He's going to still be there.
Well, that's it. It's different rules for different players.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
It's a lot harder to go and get a halfback like Ben Hunt than it is to go and get an outside back.
Yeah, well, and that's it. So this is what I say. The club has to win. So maybe in the situation with Ben Hunt, you go, well, we'll let you go as long as we win and we get a replacement. So if there's no replacement, you don't get to go. Sorry, Lomax. We're paying you overs for the position that you're playing. You go, we get X in, frees up Y. That then equals, we can put a better offer in for Z. Boom, we're in. We win. That's why you can justify it. Like, naturally, Ben will be gutted. Well, sorry, naturally, Ben will be,
expired, I think, a little bit.
I think
maybe.
he'd be going through that process of like, well, why is it okay for him and not for me? But that's just, like I say, that's the situation.
Yeah.
That it is, and it changes.
Just while we're talking roster management, the West Tigers have now got themselves a little bit of a dilemma because Lockie Galvin's burst onto the scene and basically said, I'm the 5'8" for you guys. I'm the 5'8" for the next 5 years. I think Shane Richardson, when he came in here, he said that Galvin and Luai would get that crack, and that's likely the halves of the future. But the issue they've got now is they've got Jerome Luai coming, who's on $1.2 million a year. Jaden Sullivan, who's on $600,000 a year. They gave him a 4-year deal. And then Lockie Galvin's burst onto the scene, so he's going to be playing now ahead of Jaden Sullivan. You got Aiden Caesar, but I think Aiden Caesar's only a 1-year deal anyway. And then Latu Fainu, who's got massive raps on him and is on big coin for like a guy who's just making his debut this weekend. What they do with all those players, because they can't have that much of their salary cap in their halves.
Well, they've got Adam Dewey as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's on decent money. He's got a couple of years to go.
Yeah, and he's probably going to play centre when he comes back from his ACL injury.
That's if he gets in.
Yeah, over for Tape maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Obviously, Olam on one side.
Yeah. Good 14 to have anyway, Dewey as well. But he's on good money, you're right. So they've got all these players now.
Well, Dewey's a good 14, but then maybe Sullivan would be the 14, because it's not like one of the... So sometimes when you're in a situation like that, you might go, well, let's use one of them as a hooker, but you've got Happy Carousel there. So, and then you look, oh, well, who could play centres? Well, yeah, maybe that's where Dewey would go. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, of course.
It is a really good problem to have, and other teams are crying out for halfbacks. So you can sort of look, and this situation has manifested. It's not like it's been put together. Like, were people expecting Galvin to go as good as he's gone? Probably not. Like, good on Benji for giving him a start. And, mate, it's a long season as well. Like, he is just a kid. Like, he looks slight. Like, the week-to-week rigor of NRL is going to take some getting used to because he's just not that big. Like, I think he made over 20 tackles on the weekend. Like he is out for a couple of weeks. But that's going to take its toll on a young man's body. And we've seen what happened with Sam Walker. Burst onto the scene. Wow, this kid's going to be the Roosters 5'8" for the next 12 years. Well, hang on a minute. He's going to go through waves of form. And the same will happen with Galvin. And the same will happen with Fino. But, like, Sullivan's the probably the little bit of the headache for Benji around where he fits in, especially next year. So if you've got Luai, he's going to be the 7. And then a mixture between Latu and Lachlan Galvin at 6. And maybe they have to battle it out. But also, they're very young. So it's not a bad problem for Benji Marshall, Shane Richardson, and the rest of the Tigers to have. There will be some movement go on, but probably the biggest concern is, like, is the money Dewey's on, like how they've manufactured that, and then perhaps they signed Sullivan for maybe too long. But again, this is a great problem to have, that Galvin has just come from nowhere when they were probably maybe anticipating Galvin to start to come good in a year or two. But credit to the lad, he's done well. But it's a tough ask to expect him to get Galvin to play even like 15 games of NRL this year. Like, that's probably too many.
But it's less about this year, isn't it? It's more about next year. Because also Dewey is off contract the end of this year.
Oh, he's off contract
at
this
the end
year?
of this year. Right. Yeah. So, and the issue with Sullivan is no club's going to want to pay him 600. It was overs at the time. It was he was just barely making the Dragons team. The Dragons were one of the worst teams in the comp.
Yeah.
It was a really strange one.
I can understand why they went after Sullivan. I still think he has got a lot of potential. Like, I've liked him when I've watched him play for the Dragons. And yeah, he didn't have the best first game, and I think it'll be seized. He'll likely have that 14 spot for a while. But you'd be foolish to write him off.
I'm excited to see Fino make his debut this weekend, come off the bench into that 14 role. Maybe he can show that he's got a lot in that role, but he's still really young. But let's talk about the round then ahead, because it's a great round of footy.
It is. Just quickly, a lot of teams are looking for halfbacks. I just wonder if they're gonna go to England. There's Harry Smith, Lewis Dodd. Like, don't be surprised to see a couple of teams go after those two.
How old's George Williams now as well? Is he getting a bit older? Because he was brilliant when he was here.
He'd be like late. Like, I can't imagine him wanting getting him out of a deal. And he's been here. He's been here, and I reckon it'd be I couldn't imagine him coming back.
There's nicer places to live than Canberra, though. George Williams. I know Ricky sells it to these English guys, but there's other parts of Australia. It's a different life. Canberra, Australia, it's a very different life to, like, Gold Coast, Australia.
You sound like Corey Parker.
Is he anti-Canberra?
Oh, yeah. Did you not see he was down there, and Canberra took a picture of him saying, like, nice to see the Canberra Tourist Board officer or something down in the nation's capital, because he basically said it's not a destination players would want to go to. But
okay, well,
I know. Look, yeah, maybe George Williams.
There's some nice parts to it. I've got a mate who plays at the Brumbies, so I've been there a couple of times. It's a nice place.
Yeah, I don't mind Canberra. I reckon, no, but in all seriousness, I think we'll see teams go after Lewis Dodd and Harry Smith.
Cool. Interesting. All right, well, let's get to the footy though, Jimmy, because it's another cracking round of footy. And it starts off Thursday night in Melbourne at Amy Park. It's the Melbourne Storm against the Brisbane Broncos. And Cameron Munster is finally back. We get our first taste of Cameron for 2024.
Yes, the slip in the shower, mysterious injury.
Yeah.
He's finally back. So great to have one of our game's best back in action. Round 5. Should be a good game. The Broncos surprised a lot of people last week with their how they dispatched of the Cowboys, but it'll be a tough ask to go down to Melbourne. We saw that when Penrith Panthers went down there and Melbourne shut them out. And like I said earlier in the pod, I think Melbourne look a different team this year, different attitude, different areas of focus. They starting to look a little bit like the Melbourne of old. Yes, they lost that game against Newcastle, but they were running on empty with their spine players. So I think the Storm will get the victory in this one. I reckon it'll be low on points, but I reckon Melbourne should just have enough. I think no Reece Walsh. Saylor's been really good. Again, he's probably another one of those players that teams, clubs will be going, maybe they'll try and turn his head with the promise of regular first grade football. He looks up to the task.
Canberra. Maybe he could go there and play fullback for Canberra.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think Rapin has done a pretty good job, but he's like 34.
Yeah.
But yeah, Saylor will have a few. He's done enough now to turn a few heads and get some attention, and rightly so.
Because also he's got a bit of a kicking game as well, so he could play 5'8" as well. He could really play 5'8" at fullback.
Yeah.
Great option for clubs, needing a spine player.
Oh mate, definitely, undoubtedly. But just on the game in general as well, still no Payne Haas. Couple of others out. Tiakora's playing.
He's huge.
Mate, I said last week on the podcast, I really hope he gets a chance. I can't wait to see him. And he's going to get unleashed. I've seen him play in a few trials. I'm excited to see this kid go. He is ginormous. I think he's over 2 meters.
Yeah, he is. He's 207 centimeters.
So what's that in traditional?
Feet, and isn't that traditional? 207 centimeters?
No, feet and inches.
Feet and inches is not traditional. You're English, aren't you? So you got the miles. You got is it the metric or the?
We've got
what's the other system
miles,
called?
feet and inches. We do, if you pound, quarter pounder, half pound. Yeah,
exactly. So you're not. Your traditional is not us. Is not the same as ours.
Yeah. Would you drink half a litre or would you drink a pint?
We would drink a pint, but that's just more of a slang pub thing.
Is it? No, it's not. Because if you ask for half a litre, they'll say, no, pint is 538 mils, my friend.
But if you go and get a bottle of milk in the grocery store, it's 500 millilitres, which is half a litre.
I'm buying 2 litres, mate.
I'm
actually buying the big one, 3 litres.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know how many
But you have almond milk, don't you?
Sometimes.
Yeah, so I didn't even know if they're making that big.
No.
Okay, yep.
But, No, the reason I'm asking is why I want to know, because I know
6'9".
Ooh, 6'9".
That's massive. How big is Kai Pearce-Paul? We'd be about the same.
No, I don't think he's 6'9".
Nah, he just looks so tall on TV. It's crazy.
There's I was going to say if he's over 7 foot, it's something ridiculous like the percentage of people over 7 foot that are in the NBA or have played professional NBA. It's actually ridiculous. It's something like 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 people over 7 foot all playing the NBA.
Wow, is that right? Well, there's not that many of them, I guess.
Well, exactly. That's the point.
Shout out to Nikola Jokic. He's a 7-footer. He's on fire in the NBA. She's going to win the MVP. Nuggets are probably going to win the title.
Yeah.
It's exciting stuff.
And
for any Nuggets fans.
is going to make his debut this week.
And
Looking
also,
forward to that. But I reckon the Storm will get the win.
He's actually 205 centimeters, 6'8", 7. So basically 6'9".
Basically.
Yeah, which is impressive.
Is it impressive to be tall?
Well, it is impressive. Yeah, it's is it impressive to have a big penis? It's like the big. It is impressive, isn't it? It's just it's an athletic specimen.
But if you drew a picture, you'd be like, oh, that's impressive. Or we do this podcast, oh, it's impressive. But
you don't reckon his physique's impressive?
not done anything to it. Like, he's just got good parents.
He's not done anything. Yeah, but he's become a professional athlete.
Yeah.
It's impressive enough to make him a professional athlete.
Yeah, but for tall people get very funny about like their height being brought up.
Yeah, they do.
I've got like a tall friend, my best mate, and like he is like ruthless.
Yeah.
Like ruthless.
A lot of people ask him about if he plays basketball and that sort of stuff. That's the question they hate the most.
Yeah. Well, he actually this is how he can be a bit of a shit with it as well. Like, when we were at school, like his or his girlfriend at the time, like he was at like the house, at her house, and they were going upstairs, and like there was a bit of a family gathering, and this girl he was seeing, the nan, goes like, "Oh, watch your head," and laugh, and he just goes, "Don't know what you're laughing at. You'll be dead soon."
Far out. Jesus Christ.
He told me, I was like, "Lads, what are you doing?"
That's uncalled
I know.
for.
I was like, "Lads, what are you doing?" He's like, "Well, no, it's not funny. I get it all the time. I'm sick of it."
He sounds hypersensitive.
Yeah, well, and obviously the worst thing you can do is let people know how sensitive you are to it. And then you start going to people, "Hey, can you do me a favour?" Like if you're at the bar, be like, "Can you go over to my mate and like say, can I have a picture? Because I've never seen a guy so tall." And then like just fucking set him off. Yeah, and like, to be fair, he's only like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah, right.
Like tall
Yeah,
enough.
but that's massive in England. Because you go to England, everyone's pretty small, aren't they?
I don't know.
Maybe it's just my family over there. It feels
Yeah,
like everyone's a
maybe,
little
yeah.
bit smaller than
I
like,
dunno.
and you walk around town, like I'm not that tall. I'm 6 foot, and I felt like I was a giant in
Yeah.
England. Yeah.
I don't know. It's always good going to like old traditional pubs where, like the doorways are not that high.
There's pretty,
and
you're
like,
bending out.
Yeah,
but
you have to bend over.
Speaking of the heights, there's a good Wilt Chamberlain, who's an NBA player. There's a good story about him where he was in the lift and a guy asked him, "How's the weather up there?" And he just spat on him and said, "It's raining." So he's another one who was ruthless with that sort of stuff.
Well, I reckon if like people constantly make jokes, it would irk you to a point where you retaliate in such a fashion.
Creative ways. It's very good.
Yeah, and also like, why is it okay for you for people to point out a truth, and then imagine if you are tall, like saying like, "I don't know what you're laughing at, you'd be dead." It's another truth.
Yeah.
So you're saying, "Hey, watch your head." Ha ha ha. That's funny. Well, I'm pointing out a truth that I actually find funny as well, potentially.
Yeah.
So, shout out to all the tall people over there. But you know
Love you
what,
all.
as well, in all the talk of equity and equality, tall people disproportionately. I think there's a chart. The taller you are, the more well paid you are.
Ah, okay.
So
interesting.
Tall people are naturally more more susceptible to success.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're a leader, aren't you? Kind of.
Well, you
got a presence.
You got the look.
And most of them are NBA players, so they're getting paid a shitload of money.
Yeah, or as you say, that's so impressive. Wow, you did so much work there to be tall. Give yourself a pat on the back, pal.
Well, he probably also had to lift some weights as well, because he's not just tall; he's a big boy, isn't he?
Who?
I don't know.
Takora?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about my mate there. I was like, no, he's a rake.
Is he a Steve Merchant, is he?
Yeah, I keep telling him to get on the roids. He'd look amazing, but he won't do it.
I want to do a same game multi for this game, actually, because I'm really confident on the Brisbane Broncos. I think they win. Yeah, I think they win, but I'm not going to pick them to win. I'm going to pick them at the line because it's so generous. -7, +7.5, the Broncos.
Okay.
And then I've got Xavier Coates, anytime try scorer, and Selwyn Cobbo, anytime try scorer. Currently, at time of recording, paying $12.27 on your Ladbrokes app. The only place to bet. I love Ladbrokes.
Hey, just on that, did you hear the live read?
I did.
That you were part of last week?
I edited it while on my holiday, so I heard it back. It was well done, mate. Good impression of me. Yeah.
Thanks. Got quite a few comments. Not even about the show, about the live read. That's when you know, hey, if there's a place to do live reads and partner, it's with the Byron, because we do some great
live reads. Yep. Without me, they're even better as well.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You're not taking on the fun.
Do you know what is going to be fun? Watching the doggies get pumped by the Sydney Roosters on Friday, 6 o'clock game. That's your next game. Roosters massive favourites, huge favourites.
Yeah, huge favourites, and obviously, you know, the Dogs have been in the headlines this week around the halves and whatnot, and they've come under criticism. Look, for me, they're still building things at the Bulldogs. Like there's no secret about that. They're by far they're a bit away from being the finished article. I really have enjoyed watching them defensively. They trust the process. They trust the systems that Cam Serraldo has implemented. I thought they did very well against South Sydney. Yes, they had some opportunities that they probably just couldn't ice and pull the trigger or find that last class pass, which I speak about so often, and that is all the difference sometimes. But what are you supposed to do? I mean, people calling for Sexton to come in over Hutchison. I don't think Hutchison's been that bad. He's done his job. He's done it to the best of his abilities. And, you know, I got asked this question with the Jam and Cheese show around, would you like to play Crichton at fullback and bring Sexton in? The fan in me goes, yeah, of course. I want to see Crichton at fullback because he'll get more ball. And, yeah, Toby Sexton comes in and I imagine he's a little bit more creative, or if he sees half a gap, he can go and back himself to get through it, where Hutchison, you know, struggles a little bit with that. But Cam Serraldo and the staff are there every single day, and they know what's going to work for this team to get results. They weren't that far away against South Sydney. It's the best Souths have played all year. If Souths play like they had done in other games this year, Bulldogs win. But
it's the same problem they've had the last few years, their attack. I mean, unfortunately, their spine just isn't very good, and their team on paper isn't very good in those creative positions.
Well, look. There's I don't.
Like, I know you had.
I think they need to improve, undoubtedly. But I like Burton.
Yeah,
I like Reid Marnie. I think he's growing into his role this year. I think we're really starting to see him come to fruition with some nice plays out of dummy half. Maybe that might be the change that's needed. Yeah. Some more creativity from 9. Let Reid do a lot more of that creative stuff, which we're starting to see some of. So
he's got a good kick out of dummy half, Reid Marnie, as well. But he's not known for his attacking prowess. He's more of a sort of gritty, unbelievable defender.
I don't know. He's done a couple of good runs out of dummy half recently that have led to line breaks and whatnot. And there was a couple of even against the Souths as well. So maybe we'll start to see, instead of the Dogs changing personnel, change some points of attack and who, you know, instead of Reid just distributing to the halves. Or you go Hutchison early ball and look to create some second phase offload from kick out. I think they got spooked a few times. They looked to kick out and they saw, I think it was Hawkins rush up, and they kind of got a bit frightened and thought, oh no, he's shut that down. Just play it to kick out anyway. Get kick out into the three man. So you've got this week, you've got Walker and you've got Keary. Like, get kick out after whoever's on that side.
Yep.
Like, just get the ball to him early, and maybe that's your point of attack. That's where you score points. Kick out on top of Walker or on top of Keary. Bang, early ball into the collision. Other players scramble to help, offload to a Taff or a Crichton on the outside.
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's probably going to be a tough year for the Dogs overall. Like, they just haven't got the players.
I think they do. I think they've got enough there.
Okay. Because even that game against the Titans where they put on lots of points, really, the Titans put in one of the worst NRL performances I've ever seen that game. Genuinely, they did. That start of that game was so bad. I was like, how have they not scored 24 points? They should have been up like 24-0 after 20 minutes. Titans kept just handing it to them, giving them the ball, and they were still 6-0 after 20 minutes. Like, so your attack is not very good. Roosters' goal line defense has been really strong. It's kept them in the game against Manly, even though Manly won that game. It kept them in the game. At times, they were able to keep out Penrith. Penrith are just unbelievable though. But I think you'd probably go scoreless.
You reckon?
Yeah, scoreless on Friday.
It's a big call, Charlie.
Yeah, I know a lot of Dogs fans listen, but it's just the reality of the situation you guys are in. Good for Sam Husey starting though.
It is, and Angus Crichton is back in the starting lineup as well. So
Yeah.
what a transformation from him from being outside the top 17 to working his way back in. He was really good last weekend against, or last Thursday rather, against Penrith. When he came off the bench, he made a big difference, and really pleased for him to be back in the team.
And the mental fortitude he's actually shown to turn his life around. I mean, it's all out there now that he had an episode over in Europe, and I mean, for him to be back in the team, back in first grade, like a lot of people thought he was never going to play rugby league again. And he's off contract as well, so he's got a few options. There was a lot of talk about rugby, but maybe now that he's back in that,
quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has gone quiet. Yeah. So maybe now the Roosters are back in the picture. He's found the home there in the starting lineup again. At his best, he's an international player.
Yeah, he really is. They've got some really good young forwards. Obviously, Siwa Wong started in the first couple of games out of the team, but you know that and again that happens.
Yep.
So young forwards, young halves, but he'll be back.
Yep.
And credit to Angus Crichton.
Then the second game Friday night, a bit of an underwhelming game, if I'm going to be honest. Normally Friday 8 o'clock, often the match of the round. This week we've got the Newcastle Knights against the St George Illawarra Dragons up there in Newey.
I hope it's going to be game of the year after you saying that, Charlie.
I can't imagine it will be.
No.
But
I know what you're saying. It seems strange for the primetime game, especially with some of the games that we've got on Saturday. Like, Manly against Penrith should be a top of the table clash, but it's not because Manly have dropped their lollies a little bit lately. But no, this game, Dragons up against Newcastle. Jackson Hastings back. He should add a little bit more and to the Knights attack that's been struggling a little bit. And I thought they had some decent opportunities to get points against the Warriors, but just couldn't find them.
they didn't seem to get Ponga enough ball. Like, that seems to be an issue, doesn't it?
It is getting Ponga the ball in good areas. They've just struggled. And any time Ponga's had the ball in good areas, they look dangerous. Very favouring their left edge against the Warriors. Their right edge, other than Frizzell, was looking a bit sluggish. But Gay Guy's back, and with Ponga's kick returns have been good, but they need to free him up. The Dragons go up there though full of confidence. Like, really good win on the weekend. I reckon the Dragons will get this,
Really?
Yeah,
Up there in Newcastle. That would be a massive win. Because really, they should be 3-1. If Raven Faitala-Mariner catches that ball and scores that try, they're 3-1.
Yeah.
Huge turnaround. Yeah,
massive turnaround. But I reckon the Dragons will get them. Something to watch out for. Frizzell and Lomax.
That rivalry.
Yeah, well, remember...
Yeah.
Was it last year?
2 years ago, I think now.
Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Watch out for those two potentially coming together.
Yeah.
Maybe a little square up from Frizzell.
Speaking of Newcastle back row as well, Kai Pearce-Paul is just a freak. Like, if he looks like he could like end up with like 6 offloads a game. If he hasn't quite connected on a few of them yet, but if he gets plays in the right position, I think that's a weapon that the Knights should really look to get part of their attack. Is Kai Pearce-Paul getting some offloads and having players there to support him always, because every tackle he's so big and he's so hard
and he's looking for it.
Yeah,
and that's where maybe your Pongas of the world need to sort of change how they play, and instead of being just that sweep runner looking to create a 3-on-2, go like almost preempt. Let's play short to Pearce-Paul, and then have Ponga turn up either on his left or his right and figure out which is his favourite side. Is he going to turn and then offload? Is it going to be through the line? All those different variations that the great offloaders do. But the frightening thing about Pearce-Paul is he doesn't even look like he's filled out. No. He
looks like he could still gain a fair bit of muscle there.
So he's impressed me so far. But if Newcastle realise his potential, they'll get points in and around him.
So you got the Dragons in that one though with the upset. I like it. Then Saturday, you spoke about those great Saturday games. This
Warriors South, man.
Yeah, Rabbitohs Warriors, incredible game.
First game on a Saturday as well.
Yeah, at a core stadium. I think the Warriors are one of the genuine title contenders.
Man, I can't pick this game.
I think the Warriors pump them.
Really?
Yeah.
Warriors can't put a team away though.
Yeah, I know, but they're building. So even though they are not putting these teams away, they are still winning. Well, they've won a couple of them. but they're building to a huge win, and I think putting 40 on South could be their big win.
Man, they're not. I've got the Warriors in a close one, but I'm nervous about this game. Like,
You think it's a coin flip, do you?
I reckon there'll be points. I reckon there'll be a heap of points, but I don't know who comes out on top.
What was the Rabbitohs performance like against the Dogs? Because obviously I was down the coast, didn't see that game.
High completion. They gave away a lot of penalties.
Right. So a bit of discipline. How was Latrell's performance?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good,
Yeah,
okay.
not like amazing.
Yeah.
But he did some great things. Great. The offload coming out of trouble that led to the line break before Jack Whiting's first try was like first class.
Right.
He was good. He was involved, but not like the 10 out of 10 Latrell, if you know what I mean.
Because I actually reckon you could make an argument for the Warriors that they've been the best team after 4 rounds.
I think you're right. I don't think they've been better than Penrith though.
That's fair. Sorry, I'll take that back. But one of the best teams.
Yeah, and they just can't seem to put teams away. But I think you're right. I think Roger Tuivasa-Sheck has surprised a lot of people. The injury to Metcalf could be interesting.
Yeah,
and I think Tamari Martin's come in.
He has.
Wade Egan is up there with the best hookers in the comp, and I think I'm okay to admit when I was wrong, Charlie.
The Byron was very wrong about the Warriors.
We were
Warriors fans and we also then at the same time said that Warriors fans were were bagging us incorrectly, but they were actually spot on right. So you have to take
still
your licks.
a long year.
You
You
have to take your licks though.
Yeah.
But
Maybe at round 8, I'll be like, you know what, the Byron was right.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But then if it's because of Luke Metcalf's injury, they've got that excuse as well, which will allow.
No, we're not going to allow excuses. But for this moment in time, we'll hold our hands up and say the Warriors have been impressive.
And you've got them winning this weekend?
I do in a close one, yeah.
Okay, all right. And then the second game of Super Saturday, it's unbelievable. What an afternoon, just kick back and watch the footy. You got the Seagulls against the Panthers.
Mate, Manly, I can't figure them out, man. Like, they win their first 2, everyone's raving. And then they were pants against the Dragons last week. They were awful. And then they had the game against Parramatta. It was done. It was over after 20 minutes. I honestly thought it was going to be embarrassing, that game. And it could get ugly. Just fell in the hole.
That's what Manly's been like the last few years, though. Inconsistent. Even when Tom Trbojevic has been fit. And they can't shake the tag. They are flat track bullies. They are.
like that.
When things are going great for them, they're going great. And as soon as they face a little bit of adversity, it falls apart for them.
Like even that game against the Roosters, they battered the Roosters. Like, they absolutely battered them through the middle. Probably again, couldn't quite put them away, but they battered them.
Yeah.
But like, if you're going to beat Penrith, you got to be on for the whole game. So I think that suggests a Penrith victory. Penrith no Cleary still, but Fisher Harris is back, which is massive because Manly's pack is pretty handy. So yeah, I think Penrith obviously, that reintroduction of James Fisher Harris is huge for them.
Penrith in a close one, or you think they win comfortably?
No, I think it's comfy win.
All right. Then the top of the table clash to finish Super Saturday, it's the Dolphins against the West Tigers. Top of the table Dolphins against West Tigers sitting in 6. The West Tigers, Jimmy, Anthony and I were talking about before we went on, looking for their first 3-game win streak since 2018.
Jesus.
And they're a chance against the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are getting a little bit overhyped. They got pumped. What do they do? They got pumped by the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They obviously beat the Titans last week. They've had the bye.
Beat the Dragons.
And they beat the Dragons. It's like, meh.
We are top the league, so we are top the league. No, I know what you're saying. They beat 2 teams that they would expected to have beaten. They were poor against the Cowboys. How good's this? Benji Marshall coaching against his old mentor and his brother.
Yes, right. I didn't even think about that.
Like, coaching against your brother would be weird, right?
Do you reckon he's going to sneakily call him to try to get a little bit of dirt out of him?
Hey, Jeremy.
Yeah.
It's Benj. How you doing? How'd you pull up after the weekend?
Who's coming in for Plath?
Have you been listening to Wayne? I think he's losing it. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't listen to him if I were you. We've got a better hooker than you here. Ooh. I know you're my brother, but I'd pick out Appy Corso over you any day of the week.
Wayne actually told me the same thing over the summer. He's like, "Oh, I wish we could get a hooker like Appy."
Yeah. Do you want to? Do you want your brother Benji? Because he doesn't want you. Just letting you know. Be a strange one for Benji. This. Got the same game multi for this game.
Ah, okay.
Dolphins -4.5. Over 42.5 points. Asako and the Hammer anytime try scorer.
What's that paying on Ladbrokes?
$6.88.
Just on a Ladbrokes same game multi, I actually did one, which we didn't end up posting on our socials, but I did one down in the when I was down, and it was a great bet. It was the Dolphins -15.5 and Hammer to score a try. Tick, tick. The reason was I saw a bunch of Dolphins while I was away.
No, it was -18.5.
Didn't get posted. I'm saying it's -15.5.
Yeah, well, it didn't get posted, so you basically just made it up.
Well, no, my Dolphins -15.5.
No,
So that would be my first
you were
win.
close, but no
Didn't get
cigar.
posted, doesn't count, but that would have been my first win.
Yeah, well, unlucky. If only my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle. So that's unfortunate for you, Charlie. But yeah, I think the Dolphins. Look, I really liked what the Tigers did on the weekend, and a lot of hype and a lot of confidence, a lot of belief within that team. But coming up against this Dolphins attack, I don't know if they'll be as forgiving as what Parramatta were.
Fair enough. I think the Dolphins will win as well. I think the Tigers again. They've had a couple good wins last 2 weeks, but I think the Dolphins won't be too strong. Sunday afternoon, Cowboys against the abysmal Gold Coast Titans.
The game we should be at, but I'm not going to air my.
Well, you can air it if you want.
No, I don't need to air my dirty laundry with
It's
you.
a bit rude to our listeners if you're going to say something and then not follow through with it. It's a bit like when you go, "Ooh, no, I actually can't tell you that."
Yeah. Oh, have you heard about this? Oh, no,
I shouldn't tell you. I shouldn't tell
well, Charlie White is the organizer for our Triple M Sunday call team. Sunday 4:00 is Cowboys v
the Gold Coast Titans.
Gold Coast Titans in a massive clash up there in between the Queensland rival. Like, talk about a rivalry.
The Cowboys
between
Titans.
the Cowboys and the Titans, like two Queensland biggest teams, and I'm just in the assumption. I'm in the assumption of we're going because that's what we should be going for games of this magnitude. We should be going up there Saturday afternoon, soaking up the atmosphere, doing all our prep. Doing a few. Dress rehearsals, run-throughs, what we're going to talk about on the Sunday because it's such a huge game.
Yeah.
Arguing over points, hashing out ideas together. Wake up Sunday fresh, go for a run, clear the thoughts, bang, into the 4-hour show.
Waking up Sunday fresh?
Yeah, into this blockbuster game. And now Charlie White has basically said, we're not going.
Yeah. Well, it's not my choice as well. I would love to be there. I would have loved it. But unfortunately, it's hard from a technical standpoint getting equipment up to Townsville. So we can only do it for the big games. And the Cowboys v the Titans we're going to be honest, it's not a big game, is it?
So
Titans are the worst team in the comp.
Basically, you can't be asked organising getting the equipment up there.
It's not that I can't be asked. I mean, I was away for the long weekend, and it probably could have got the ball rolling then.
Doesn't everybody know that you're away for that long
weekend? We'd all
weekend?
love to go to Townsville. But the reason you want to go for Townsville is not because you want to wake up early and do a run. It's because you want to have a night at the Mad Cow, and then you want to and then enjoy yourself Sunday. And then I think it's hard to get out of there Sunday, so you have to leave Monday. So you're basically creating 3 days in the Townsville for you. You want a mini holiday. You want to go to Magnetic Island. That's what you want to do.
I wanted a bit of sun.
Yeah.
My tan's starting to fade.
Yeah.
From summer.
But
it is. It's starting to fade. My summer tan is starting to fade. I'm back into proper white guy.
Yeah, the cameras. I think you've affected the cameras with your fluorescent skin.
Yeah, no, I think
can't focus on
it's
anyone.
these new lights you've put in.
Oh yeah, do you like them?
I mean, nah,
Yeah,
they're all right.
fair enough.
They're like it makes me look better. I'm happy with it. But no, this could be if like Hasler had that spray. I just don't know if there's the personnel in that Gold Coast team to pick up the pieces and say, let's go. Let's do something about this. I really don't. So
Cowboys in a big win.
yeah,
It's a shame. I think I actually I bet on the Titans get the wooden spoon when the Tino news broke on Ladbrokes. Apologies, Ladbrokes, but I think that bet will win. And I got the.
Why are you apologising?
Well, because I mean, I guess they'd be happy for me.
Yeah,
they'd be happy. They'd be thrilled for me. It was about $5 when I got them on. Now it's now into $1.80, and I think I'd want to be on the Titans get wooden spoon. I think they're in all sorts.
At this moment, it's hard to see them turning it around, and you know the level of opponent that they've faced so far. Like, I think it's fair to say there's some tougher tasks to come. So
great Sunday night game to finish. They got Canberra Raiders against Parramatta Eels. It's a shame Mitch Moses isn't playing. He's still out for obviously a fair while. The Canberra Raiders, they were savaged by Ricky Stewart after the game. I think someone tried to praise Matt Tomoko, and Ricky was like, no one deserves any praise here.
he was pissed off, and rightly so. And he would have sprayed the Raiders team, but I think they've got the people to pick it up. But again, the Eels probably would have been on the receiving end of a decent spray as well. It's in Canberra, isn't it? This one?
It is.
Canberra.
I think Canberra too.
Canberra.
Yeah, I think Canberra.
Canberra.
Potentially comfortably Canberra, I think.
I don't know about comfortable. I reckon this will be a really tight game, a low scoring affair, but Canberra.
Just quickly on Parramatta, because this Moses loss is massive for them. You could see that with their attack. It was awful against the Tigers. Can they handle this and still make the top 8? Because he's out for 8 weeks.
They need to have themselves in touching distance. That's what they need to do. They need to be in and around, and then Moses comes back and then catapults them. But it's a lot of responsibility on Moses, and not the one that you'd probably welcome. But that's like, you'd think, oh no, the boys would be fine without me. But the reality of it is, their goal should be, let's cling on, and then with Moses we can go to another level. They're a totally different side with him in it, like any good player. But he stands out. You look at the contrast between Penrith losing Nathan Cleary, the best player in the world, versus Parramatta losing their star halfback in Mitchell Moses. Like, it was chalk and cheese. It really was. And I think we'll see more. I think Hopgood's going to start this week. He was on the bench last week. Probably see some creativity stuff around him. But yeah, probably Brown and Talangi need to. I don't know. It's hard to figure out what the right thing to do. Just play a normal game, or try and replicate Moses, or somewhere in between.
Yeah. Moses is just so good. Moses is really the heartbeat of their attack. He brings everything together. Like, even because also everyone talks about how good Parramatta's back rowers are. But that's because of the places Mitchell Moses puts these guys.
Yeah. They were disappointing last week. But yeah, Canberra in a tight one.
I like it. Just before we go, big announcement coming very soon about something that's going to happen in Magic Round.
Oh, yes.
So keep tuned for that. And also, we've got some T-shirts on the way as well. Very, very soon.
Do we?
We do, yeah, we do. We do. They've been delayed a little bit. Probably I was more focused on my holiday, so they've been a little bit delayed. But they're coming very, very soon. So keep an eye out for them.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks. It's been great to have you back, Charlie.
Good to be back.
Great to have you back.
Yeah, we're all replaceable in life. Just never forget that.
Yeah, well, I've not forgot it. All right, we'll catch everyone next week.